What's up guys, welcome to Pounds Invested. I'm your host, Stephen Georgia. Now, in today's video, we're going to talk about one of my favourite days of the year. No, not my birthday and not Christmas Day, but maybe a close third. So, on the 6th of April in the UK, something very special happens. What happens is the day on which all of our annual allowances reset. It's the start of a new tax year. And so with that in mind, in this video, I'm going to tell you about my top 5 tips for things that you can do to put yourself in the best financial position at the very beginning of a new tax year. So the first thing to do at the start of a new tax year is to make use of your new ISA allowances. Now, for your investment ISA, this is once again frozen at £20,000 per year. What that means is that you can invest up to £20,000 tax-free. So your investment will be free of income tax, it'll also be free of capital gains tax. What that means is that investing through an ISA is one of the best ways to keep more of your money for yourself rather than having to pay taxes on it. Now, it's important to be aware that investment ISAs are not the only kind of ISAs. There are also cash ISAs, there are also junior ISAs, there are lifetime ISAs, there are help to buy ISAs, but you can only have one of each type. What that means is, in any given tax year, you can have, for example, an investment ISA and a lifetime ISA, but you cannot have, say, 2 investment ISAs or 2 lifetime ISAs. So it's also really important to bear in mind that a new tax year brings with it the opportunity to switch your ISA from your previous provider to a new provider perhaps. Now, I've been using Vanguard for about 4 years now, and I really like how simple their platform is, and I also really like the fact that their fees are among the lowest in the market, not to mention the amount of options that they have in terms of the fund choices. So, 2 things to remember about investing in ISA. The first thing is that it's a use it or lose it allowance. What that means is, in any given tax year, if you don't invest your £20,000 into your ISA, you lose the opportunity to be able to do so. You cannot carry it forward into the next tax year, and in any given tax year, you cannot previously use an allowance from a previous tax year because it is already expired. So, an ISA is a use it or lose it allowance. So guys, the second thing to think about at the beginning of a new tax year is pension. Whereas an ISA is paid from post-tax money, so that's money you've already paid tax on and you actually earned, and then you can invest part of that into an ISA, a pension comes out pre-tax. So what that means is, if you look at your gross pay, the first thing to come out of it will be your pension contributions, and then what's left becomes taxable. Now, what's the limit on pension contributions? Well, the annual pension contribution limit is the smaller of your current salary, or £40,000. But let's remember, there's also a lifetime cap of £1 million in a pension plan. Now, another difference with an ISA is that an ISA, like we said, is a use it or lose it allowance. You can't carry it forwards into a next tax year, and you can't use a previous tax year's allowance in the current tax year. But a pension is different. With a pension, you can move money around between the tax years. So if at the end of a particular tax year you have money left over that you aren't too sure what to do with, you may as well funnel it into your pension, so that way you can make use of that year's allowance without having it go to waste. But once you've funneled any extra money into your pension during a tax year, remember to claim back any income tax that you will have already paid on that money. This is because pensions, like we said, are supposed to come out of gross pay, so that's before any income tax has been paid. But if you're funneling money into your pension during a tax year, you're likely to have already suffered tax on that money. So that's why it's really important to claim back your tax relief. And that's what makes pension investing a really valuable tool in your arsenal, because you can claim tax relief on your contributions. One more thing to note about pensions is that you don't need to worry about maxing your £40,000 contribution every single year. This is because, unlike with an ISA, with a pension you can carry back your contributions into previous tax years. So currently you can carry back contributions for 3 years. So that means, let's say you get a large inheritance or another windfall, you can carry back 3 years worth of contributions. So that means you can invest £120,000 of this new windfall into your pension completely tax-free, plus your £40,000 allowance in the current tax year. So that's why you don't need to worry about maxing out your pension contributions in every single tax year, because you can make use of your allowances from previous years. So guys, the third allowance that resets every single year is your capital gains tax allowance. So your annual capital gains tax allowance is £12,300. What that means is you can earn £12,300 of gains before you pay any tax on any of your gains. So in practice, if you've made a profit on your investments or your other assets, the first £12,300 of that profit is completely tax-free. So the best way to make use of your capital gains tax allowance is, if you can, to time the sales of your assets so that you can keep as much of your profit as possible. And the way you do this is to stagger the sale of your assets. Maybe you sell part of your assets just before the end of a particular tax year, so you can lock in £12,300 of gains for that tax year, and then just a few days later you can sell off another chunk of your assets, so you can lock in another £12,300 of capital gains tax allowance for the next tax year. So maybe you sell part of your assets on, let's say, March the 31st, so you can lock in the gains from one tax year, and then you wait a week and you sell another chunk of your assets on, let's say, April the 7th, so that way you can lock in the £12,300 capital gains tax allowance for the next tax year. So in total, over a week, you would have made disposals of your assets, but you would have been able to keep £24,600 of any profit you would have made. So that's just a really good way to make sure that when you're disposing of any assets, you can make the maximum use of your capital gains tax allowance. But let's not forget that tax-efficient investing isn't only for adults. You can also do quite a lot for your children if they're under 18. Now, the first thing that you can do for your child if they're under 18 is you can set them up a junior ISA, through which you can contribute £9,000 per year, which is locked until they're 18. They have no access to it until they're 18. So from your perspective as a parent, they can make no mistakes with that money. So let's play around with some numbers here. Let's say you started investing in a junior ISA as soon as your child was born. Let's say you put the maximum £9,000 per year into their junior ISA for 18 years, and you achieved a fairly conservative growth rate of 6%. That would mean after 18 years that junior ISA would be worth £304,000, when in fact your contributions over those 18 years would only total £162,000. So you can see that by starting early and investing consistently over an 18-year time period, you would have made just over £140,000 on your £162,000 contribution to your junior ISA. But just like an adult can have an ISA and a pension, somebody under 18 can also have a junior ISA and a junior pension. So we talked about junior ISAs, but how do junior pensions work? Well, with junior pensions, you can invest £2,880 per year, which becomes £3,600 after basic rate tax relief. And just as with a junior ISA, a junior pension is locked until that child reaches the age of 18. So again, from a parent's perspective, they can make no mistakes with that money. Now, let's throw some numbers around a junior pension. So with your junior pension, if your £3,600 initial investment per year for 18 years made 6% annual growth per year, that would mean that after 18 years, that junior pension would be worth £122,500, all as a result of £51,840 contributed by you as their parent. Now that is completely staggering. What that means is, by taking advantage of tax relief and investing consistently over time, you would have more than doubled the £51,840 investment over 18 years into your junior pension. Taken together, a junior ISA and a junior pension earning 6% per year over an 18-year period would mean that you as a parent would have contributed just over £210,000 into your child's future. But at the end of 18 years, that £210,000 would be worth over £420,000. So that really demonstrates the power of compound interest. You as a parent would have spent 18 years contributing to your child's future success. And by doing so, when that child is ready to go to university at the age of 18, they can do so with a pot of over £400,000. If that's not a rocket boost to set them up for life, I don't know what is. So with that in mind, make sure, if you can afford to contribute to your child's future by investing in a junior ISA and a junior pension virtually from the day they're born. So the fifth thing that I'm going to talk about isn't necessarily something that you should do at the beginning of a tax year. You can do it at any time, but it's really important that you do it. And this is to pay attention to your emergency and sinking funds. Now, what's the difference between an emergency fund and a sinking fund? Well, an emergency fund serves as a financial parachute. It's a safety net in case something unexpected happens. It makes sure that you're prepared if you have an emergency. And for more details on how big an emergency fund should be, check out the previous video, which I'm going to link to up here. So, what's a sinking fund? Well, a sinking fund is where you put money towards known expenses. These are things which recur annually, so be that car insurance, or travel insurance, or home insurance, or pet insurance, or a TV license. If at the end of a particular month you have a few £100 left over and you already contributed to your ISA and to your pension, then you can contribute to your sinking fund by leaving that money in a bank account to accumulate over a period of 12 months, so that you know that come the next year your car insurance is already budgeted for and paid, or the same with your home insurance or your pet insurance or your travel insurance. Sure, you're still paying the same amount of money, but actually you may not be. This is because by paying annually for your insurances, you can in most cases save between 10 and 15% just by choosing to pay annually rather than paying monthly. Now, I think we can all agree that if we can save 10 to 15% just by choosing how we pay, this is a very easy win that everybody should be working towards. So guys, that's all I have for you this week, and with the new tax year starting on the 6th of April, this video may well have come just in time for you to make sure that you can put yourself in the best financial position going forwards. Now, if you found this video useful, be sure to hit the like button and also let me know in the comments below. And for more content like this, make sure to subscribe to my channel. And for more details on ISA and pension investing, make sure to check out my previous video on this topic, which I'll link to in the description below. So, with all that said guys, all that remains is for me to wish you a very healthy, happy and wealthy new tax year, and I'll see you in my next video.